Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So, Germany went on a selling spree today. In fact, they sold close to $1 billion, 950 million plus of Bitcoin today. But guess what? Bitcoin didn't stumble. Bitcoin held. And what does that mean? Well, a parabolic move is incoming. So, let's take a look at what happened exactly today and why the end may be near. The end of selling, that is. All right, let's do it. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are having a good night tonight. You can see Bitcoin, didn't do a whole lot today. And that's a good thing, right? I know it didn't pump up today, but it didn't dump either. And that is especially good considering what Germany did today. And also, a lot of alts are actually in the green. This morning, they were a little bit higher, but overall, most of the alts have kept their gains. Even like Cardano up almost 9%. Doge up 6%. Even XRP up 5%, right? BNB and Solana are both at 6%. Ethereum is back above at 3,000. 6%. So today, overall, pretty good, up 1.26%. People are definitely DCAing. But today was especially good considering the German government, okay, we know they've been selling, but they sold a ton today. A ton. Remember, Arkham? Arkham's been tracking them, right? It is down, their holdings is down to 1.5 billion now. Okay, it is quite a lot. If you look at how much selling is going on, they decided that they don't want to just do 500 at a time. They want to do thousands at a time. In fact, a lot of people have been tracking it. They sold 17,000 Bitcoin today. I don't know if they actually sold or just moved, because if you look at a wallet address, there's a lot of incoming, outgoing. But people have been paying attention and notice that this number went down quite dramatically. Just yesterday, it was at 2.3, 2.4 billion. Now it's down to 1.5, 1.6 billion. That's a big drop. That's a big drop. So if they really did sell it all, you can see right here, there's a lot sent to Kraken and Coinbase and Kraken and Bitstamp. And I mean, there's just a whole lot, okay? If they did indeed sell it and Bitcoin held its price, well, that is very, very encouraging, right? That means they could be selling this within a couple days, or by the end of this week. And again, if Bitcoin holds its price, well, then that means turnaround is right around the corner. I mean, just think about it. To sell that much without affecting the price, that must mean something. And there's a reason for that, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Michael Saylor decided to speak some German today. Everyone gets Bitcoin at the price he deserves. What about she? I think that was pointed at Germany and everyone else out there. Basically, you buy at the price that you deserve, right? If you're panic selling and you're not DCAing, well, then unfortunately that is unfortunate for you. But if you've been paying attention and you've been loading up and DCAing, right, at these low prices, well, that's the price you deserve. And when things get back to normal and when prices go back up, well, you will be rewarded handsomely, right? I think that's what it means. Now, on top of Germany, Mt. Gox also, we know that they have began redistributing what they owe to the creditors too. And people are looking at that as well. We have seen random sells on Binance, random whale sells. Whether it's related to Mt. Gox, we don't know. But people are also looking at Mt. Gox and their wallets. Today, it seemed like they moved 47,000 Bitcoin. That is a whole lot. Now, did they sell the 47,000 or they just moved it to a wallet waiting for distribution? Unknown at this point, okay? But if they truly sold 47,000 Bitcoin, which is more than 4 times the amount Germany sold, and Bitcoin still didn't move. Well, that tells you something. That tells you how strong Bitcoin is, right? But could be, number one, they're just changing wallets. Doesn't mean that they actually sold and redistributed. Or two, they are doing some kind of OTC deal, which is what Germany should have been doing all along. And maybe they decided to do that now. Or three, they're using some kind of broker service. So they're just, again, just transfer to someone before that broker transfers to the creditors, right? I'm thinking that 47,000 has been sold. I'm thinking that this has just been distributed in some way, right? Because it's hard. It's hard to sell 47,000 Bitcoin that fast unless they've been working with them for quite some time, whoever they're working with, right? But again, pretty darn encouraging that all this happened today, and obviously we have a whole bunch of FUD, and Bitcoin held, and in fact, the entire crypto market cap went up today, right? Now, I do have a theory why. I have a theory why Bitcoin is holding so strong. But before I get to that, let me show you this. Bitcoin reserves on exchanges, you could see that dramatic drop, right? In July, that is a huge drop and continues to drop. And that is fantastic. Because overall, the less supply there is out there, right, the better it is in the long run for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's price is driven by scarcity. So right now, we definitely still do have a lot of buying. And some of you guys may be confused, and you're like, George, how is that possible when you have Germany and Mt. Gox dumping? How is it possible that there are still people buying? Well, you know why? Because, let me show you. The ETFs, okay, the ETFs, they're definitely buying right now. In fact, when the ETFs buy or sell, it's all done through OTC market. This is done on purpose because this is the smart thing to do. If you look at the tally for today, it's not complete, but just from the ones that have reported, like Fidelity and Bitwise and ARK and all the others, it already adds up to $107 million. That does not include BlackRock, okay? BlackRock could be having a massive inflow day. And if they do, they'll drive this number, 107 million, to even higher, of course, right? Maybe 150, 200 million, whatever it is, right? So that's the reason why. Because when Germany, when they were selling, they're just doing an open market. They're not doing OTC. That's why you see this sell pressure on the exchanges that drove prices downwards, right? But when you have the OTC market, when you have these large institutions that's buying hundreds of millions and the ETFs are now buying Bitcoin, they're doing their OTC market, right? So this is what it's supposed to be. When you make large transactions, you got to do it over the counter. But unfortunately, Germany has not been, which is why we have been affected so much. But regardless, right, there's only so many Bitcoin to go around. Okay, so regardless if it's OTC or not OTC, whatever we're seeing is just temporary. Volatility is temporary, okay? There's only 21 million that will ever exist. And we're already at 19 point, how many? 19.7 million right here, circulating supply, right? So there's not that many Bitcoin left to be found. In fact, less than 7%, right? Everyone is fighting for that last 7%. The miners are not going to be selling that. So basically it's all gone. And plus the 19.7 million, we have like anywhere from 5 to 7 million that are lost forever. So everyone's fighting for a little piece of the pie. And the pie is not getting bigger. It's not like fiat. It's not like the US dollar or euro or yen or yuan that continues to grow bigger and bigger and bigger through inflation. That's not the case with Bitcoin. There is a set supply, and once it's gone, right? That's why ultimately the price goes higher, because demand keeps going up and supply keeps going down. It's really that simple. So right now, we are seeing the ETFs buy up. Maybe not everything that's being sold, but they are definitely buying, which means, right, even Wall Street, a lot of people on Wall Street realize that this is a great time to be loading up too. So retail investors, I know a lot of long-term holders are definitely loading up, but even Wall Street is loading up because what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to buy when prices are low. You're supposed to buy when other people are panicking. That's the true way to make money when it comes to investing. Ask any of the self-made billionaires or millionaires or centimillionaires on Wall Street. They'll tell you the same thing. They bought low and sold high. That's really, really it. Now, there are a lot of patterns, of course, comparing what we're going through versus previous cycles, even previous bottoms, right? So if you look at what we're going through right now versus if you look at the bottom from 2019 and all the way into 2021, well, you'll see that we're actually ahead of the game. Look at what happened in 2019, 2020, and 2021. It wasn't until 2021 Bitcoin didn't move. It went sideways. In fact, it dumped down in March of 2020 because of COVID, right? So during that time, it's kind of scary because the halving event happened. We had another dump, and Bitcoin didn't seem like it was moving, and then boom, it went up on a parabolic rise, right? And that was exactly about 607 days afterwards. If you look at now from our current bottom to now, it's about 607 days, but you could see how we just been going up. Even with the recent dip, we've been going up and up and up and up. We haven't been going sideways. We haven't had that massive dip that we saw in 2020, right? But it's been about 607 days. Does that mean that we are getting ready for that parabolic move? Could be right around the corner. We have a lot of catalysts. We know that. We have a lot of catalysts that are coming up. The rate cut that's coming in the US, right? We got Ethereum ETF that's coming. And if the selling stops, right, and the ETF inflows continues to grow greater, that's a whole lot of buying. And plus, let's not forget the shorts. There are billions upon billions of short contracts out there waiting to be liquidated, right? So a lot of catalysts to drive us forward, kind of like this. Again, there are a lot of similarities with every single cycle, like this one. And this is the 2017 cycle. But again, we have seen periods like this before, okay? I know a lot of people haven't lived through a previous cycle. I have lived through all of them. And, it's really easy to forget after the fact. Because after the fact, Bitcoin and crypto goes up to the moon. And no one seems to remember the days when it struggles, okay? I got in the market in 2013. And I got out of the market in 2014 because I didn't quite understand. Bitcoin went all the way down to like $160. And it took a long time until 2017 before it reached its previous high once again, right? And that was a long time. But then, you know what? It broke through its previous high and never stopped, right? It's kind of like how it is right now. If you look at the pattern, it's almost identical, right? So even though history doesn't always repeat, but it tends to rhyme, and we are seeing the same kind of movement like before, where we see patterns that's almost identical. If you look at where we are right now, how can you say that doesn't look similar, right? So again, when we break out, we will get through our previous high made in March of this year, 73,000, and we will be heading much higher. I still stand by the fact that I believe end of the year we will be above $100,000 for Bitcoin. I still stand by that. I think things will move and turn really quickly, and when they do, we will not remember Germany's sell-off or Mt. Gox fears or dipping down in the 50s again, okay? Because by then, we'll be in the 80s, 90s, 100s, $110,000, $120,000, right? But those of you guys that DCA'd, you'll remember because you took advantage. And that's the right move to do, right? You buy low and you sell high. Now, outside of Bitcoin, I mentioned there are other catalysts. For example, spot Ether ETFs are coming. A lot of people think, ignore this picture of Vitalik. Pretty sure that's Photoshop. But Ethereum spot ETFs are coming. And many people think that it's going to come very soon. Even as soon as this week or next week, right? So I think Ethereum ETFs could definitely be a catalyst, bring a lot more money into the space. Van Eyck also filed for their, or they filed their S1 for the Ethereum ETF, right? But there are like 7 or 8 applicants or something like that. So there are definitely quite a lot. But you know what else they filed? They filed for, well, not this one. They filed for Sol ETF, right? We know that Solana ETF is coming, okay? We're waiting, I'm waiting at least, for BlackRock and Fidelity and the big guys to be filing. But I guess there are no chump change either. They're pretty big. They're pretty big. So we know that Ethereum spot ETFs are coming. Could be a catalyst for this month. But when Sol ETFs comes, that's when we get another catalyst to drive the entire market even higher. And I know the demand for that is going to be quite high. Now, right now, it seems like the final deadline for Sol ETF is March of 2025. So we got a long ways to go. But who knows? Who knows? With Gary out and with a new president, we can get it sooner than later. Maybe approval sooner than later, even before the end of the year. That could be coming. And I think that'll be another big catalyst to drive the entire market forward and higher, right? And speaking of Solana, Anatoly suggests that meme coins should fund dev teams to build projects for them, reversing the usual ICO site model. Well, that's kind of interesting. Well, I mean, it makes sense. A lot of meme coins, right? They have a huge treasury. Some don't because they're fair launch. Some have a huge treasury and they don't know what to do with that treasury, right? They could fund dev teams and build stuff. Kind of like what Sheeb is doing and Floki's doing. Some of these other big ones, they have done that. I don't know if they actually been successful at that, but it makes sense. And yeah, something like, you know, you have, well, I don't know if Hamster Combat is really a meme, but yeah, you have like someone like Hamster Combat, you know, that's growing by leaps and bounds right now, a ton. And they have a YouTube channel that's growing by leaps and bounds. I don't know if this is true though. If you look at the comments, there are a lot of bots, right? But it's kind of like that philosophy. If they have a lot of money, they're making a lot of money, let's say from ad revenue or whatever, right? They could definitely utilize that and grow themselves or grow other things within the ecosystem that Ton would probably love, right? So it kind of makes sense. If you have the treasury, go ahead and spend it and do something that is quite useful for itself and for the chain that it operates on. Because that's why Ton Coin right now is doing so well, because of like Notcoin and Hamster Combat and their own memes too, right? All right, that's pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. Lowrider. I think that's a Lowider POC. Getting ready to send my 05 factory gated F430 to market. You made me money. Give me a first right of a refusal. That is a valuable car. First of all, you're in the US. Second of all, how much are you selling it for? I mean, that 05 is the last year, right? I think it's 05 or 06. I forget which year is the last year. I think that may be the last year. And a gated F430, basically impossible to find in the US. In Europe, I think it's more popular, but in the US, impossible to find. That's a nice car. Why are you selling it, by the way? To buy more Bitcoin? Scrolling up, let me see if I missed anything. Jonathan says another dump coming this week and next week, pushing Bitcoin down to 40s. I will buy it at that price. If there's enough selling power, okay, and it drives Bitcoin, I think next level is 52. Then after that's 42. But I really don't think we will see 42 ever again. Okay, I know that's dangerous to say, but considering that Germany sold almost half of their holdings today and Bitcoin held, that tells you a lot. So, but it's always good. It's always good to have money on the side so that you can take advantage of the dips. What made Filecoin pump so hard last cycle? Do you think it happened again next cycle? I actually don't know why it pumped so hard last cycle, but it was one of the biggest. I guess back then it was a deep in play, but no one said that. No one called it that. But it was decentralized storage, the biggest one that there was. Now there's so many other deep in plays, so I don't know if he could regain his glory. It's still down like 95%. So I don't know if it could get back to its previous high. But it was the biggest back in the day. But now you have so many others, and they're more geared towards AI, and they are the ones that's catching more momentum. Hitman Burt, bullish on DFK, best way to purchase. The best way is still, I think if you go to their website, they have a way to purchase using fiat, or you could still do it within their in-game exchange. That's probably, those two are probably the easiest. There are some exchanges that also offer it, but I'm rooting for them. Joe Flunky, Messi promoted a meme on so-called water. Is it his own or is it something else? Doesn't seem to be doing that well. Well, if he promoted it, it did start out really well. Now it's coming down. It's still holding at 56 million, which is quite high. But again, with memes right now, none of them are really holding. All of them are in kind of the same pattern here, going downwards. '09 was the last year? Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. The 458 came out in 2010. Yeah, that makes sense. 4.25 Bitcoin. What is that? 4.25 times 56.5. You're selling that for 240,000, my man? That's a little pricey. That is a little pricey. I'm seeing them a little bit lower than that. Unless it has like no miles and it's a convertible. A spider. Rob says, proud of myself, bought more Bitcoin, still young and will hold. That's the right thing to do. I mean, seriously, majority of my audience are like middle age, older, but if you are on the younger side, you're in your 20s, early 30s, you still got plenty of time, right? You just got to DCA and load up as much as you can. And in 10 years' time, you could retire, right? Like every single cycle, you see the highs get much higher and even the lows get much higher. You just have to have patience. We've been through so many cycles. We've seen so many up and downs, right? Or at least I have. And I'll say that every single time you have scary moments, you have FUD generated by whatever, and the markets go down. They go down 20, 25, 30, even 40%. But then guess what happens? We come up really fast and people forget and we make new highs. Do you think L2s will pump as well when ETFs get approved? I don't know, Raymond. Ramon. No, Ramon. I actually don't know of L2s. That's a good question. In terms of speculating, if ETH spot ETFs come to market, will L2s benefit? I actually don't know. I like to think so because I actually don't know. Like, I'm just gonna say yes, but I don't have a good reason for it. Besides enthusiasm over ETH and its ecosystem. So technically speaking, there should be more enthusiasm over the L2s, but Wall Street would just buy ETH. They won't be buying the L2s, right? So I don't know. It probably won't. No, I changed my answer. It probably won't. Eagle Eye, you're welcome. I'm glad. Do you think CPI? What do you think about CPI? I think the numbers are going to get rigged. So we're going to see numbers that allow Fed Chair Powell to cut interest rates. For sure, there will be one in September. So it's just a matter of if we get one this month. End of this month, there will be another FOMC meeting. Can we get the very first one in 4 years to happen this month? If the inflation readings show that inflation is going down dramatically, then maybe, right? Low inflation numbers and bad economic data equals rate cut. Mosey, I appreciate that. Sometimes it's tough to do 2 streams a day, especially when it's bearish, right? But I continue to do this for you guys to help you guys get through it. Ethan, not a big fan of Aerodrome anymore. I just don't see the point of them. Uniswap handles everything that Base has, so I don't know. Aerodrome did go on a huge pump, and I recognize that. I thought that, hey, all the memes being launched on Base was on Aerodrome, but then I started using it, and I started realizing, well, they're all on Uniswap, so I don't even know why Aerodrome is needed at all. I mean, there are liquidity pools that you could stake and make some money from, I guess, but I don't know. Atomizer, do you ever get tired of doing YouTube stuff? Yes, very, very tired. I just got done saying that. Two streams a day is a lot. I would love to do 1 stream a day, and maybe times where if I go on vacation, I don't have to do streams, but it's so ingrained in me. If I don't do a stream, at least 1 per day, or a video, I feel miserable. So I at least have to put out something. But yeah, I'm looking forward to my retirement next year. Mike says I was in a Lamborghini Yacht 63 this weekend in Oklahoma. I'm not a big fan of boats. I think I've seen it, like a Lamborghini speedboat. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of boats. Rusty Bot, what's the best car for picking up gold diggers? G-Wagon or EQS? Man, no one cares about EV cars. No EQS. Just go with the G-Wagon. I think Biden begged them to cut to get votes. I mean, it's every single election year, you generally see the markets blooming because it helps the incumbent, win. I'm not sure it's going to help Biden, but I do think Powell is under pressure to cut rates. He said once. I think he's going to do it twice this year. I think he's going to do it twice. Dave Ramsey says the day you buy a boat is the second best. The first best is the day you sell it. Don't listen to Dave Ramsey. Well, listen to him when you're trying to get out of debt. But afterwards, you got to live a little, okay? Dave Ramsey talks like he doesn't have any fun. He doesn't do anything, okay? He's worth like $200 million. Trust me, he has mansions. He has boats. He has all the luxury cars, right? But to his audience, he has to pretend like, well, I don't spend money on anything, I'm frugal. I pay everything in cash. I don't do this and that, right? Yeah, I agree with all that. If you're in need of financial education, you need to get out of debt. You need to learn how to save and stop spending. Dave is all for that. But afterwards, after you're out of that, you got to invest, right? You got to invest. Sometimes you got to go into debt too when it comes to investing and building a business. It's absolutely required, but that's where you got to listen to someone else. Ninebreaker says, wait, gold diggers won't like my Honda Civic. Well, if you pimp it out enough, maybe. Put a Ferrari badge on there or a Lambo badge and then make the doors go upwards. Maybe you'll fool some gold diggers. New member, prophetic worshiping warriors. That's quite a name there. I'm worried that Jim Cramer will start liking Bitcoin again. I haven't seen Jim Cramer quote about Bitcoin in a while. Joe Flunky, where would BTC rank now against world currencies? It would be number one. All fiat currencies, all world currencies around the world is getting devalued due to inflation. And none of them has set supply. And they're losing against Bitcoin. Every single one. Every single one is losing against Bitcoin. Okay, I'm not even going to talk about MSI. Kazin Way, CryptosRUs equals crypto, sports, cars, women, and booze as well. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. And IFC, which I spend majority of my time on. Is Germany regretting and buying back Bitcoin? No, but there are a lot of inflows. There's inflows and outflows. I don't know why. It's like they send it and they regret and then they send it back. I don't know. It's kind of complicated if you look at all the inflows and outflows from that wallet address. But overall, it's going down. It has gone down quite a bit. Okay. And if that continues to go down, great. Eventually, they won't have any more to sell. And then that'll be that. Are you DC on cock or sold it all? No, I still hold mine. I haven't DC'd into it, but I do hold it. I hold my cock bag. I was gonna make a joke there, but I decided not to. All right, guys. Last few questions. Hi from Mexico City. Welcome. Am I working out? I am working out, but mostly cardio. Been taking a lot of stairs. I rode the bike for over an hour today, shooting around when I can. I gotta drop some weight. I gotta drop some weight and get healthier. Sell XRP and buy the dip. That is pretty good advice. Not financial advice, but I'd say that's pretty good in general. Would you sell any Bitcoin right now to buy later this month at a lower price? Only if you know 100%. Only if you know 100% certainty that it will drop lower, okay? And in most cases, that never ends up. Most people, what they do is they sell, they think they're going to outsmart the market and buy back, and guess what? That's when it reverses. And then they have to buy back at a higher price, and they end up having less. So I stopped trying to play that game. Like, I played that game before. Every single time I try to do that, I actually end up losing money. So I'm like, no more. Right? A lot of traders also realize that. They may be trading and they see, oh yeah, I'm making money by trading. But they figured out later, had they just held and not done any trades, it would be up even more. Right? So that's kind of something I learned over the years. So, all right, guys, stay strong, stay focused. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time as usual, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.